What's up, guys? I am absolutely ecstatic to be making this video right now. 3 months ago, I set out a goal from going from 0 to 100K a month, and the time has come. I thought that it was going to take longer, but we freaking did it. In just 4 short months, we went from 0 to over $100,000 in a single month. April was absolutely insane. We had a ton of new changes. We hired a bunch of people. We had to let go of some people. But, I'm proud to say right now, we broke past our goal by over 12%. Absolutely insane. I'm going to break down everything. But yeah, challenge is complete. Here's the thing though, we're not going to stop here. We're going to continue to keep going. We're going to set new goals. I'm thinking the next goal that we set is probably going to be around 150K in a single month. But we had a lot of changes, and right now I just want to maintain exactly where I'm at because April was a big month. We had a webinar, we had new hires, we had to let people go, and it was a very intense month. And right now I just want to see if we can continue sustaining this. And then, once we get past that little growth part, then we can start to work on setting these new goals and taking this to a new height. But here's the thing, everybody on the internet wants to say that, oh, I scaled from 0 to 100K a month in 3 months, or 0 to 100K a month in 4 months, is what you're seeing right now. But guys, I'm going to break this down. This is not a 4 month process. This was years in the making, guys. I've been working on this for years. So here's what the graph actually looks like. That's what it looks like. Okay. It's not just, oh, I started in January and I started at 0. No, I had some foundations built up. I had the skills. I had some team. I had the network. And that's why I was able to scale so fast. So if you're thinking like, okay, I can just go out and scale to 100K a month in 4 months, it's probably not the case. And it's going to take years of building and knowledge and experiences to be able to get to that point. So let's break it down. Let's make this quick. So November 2022. This is when I started my setting journey. Took a program, very rigid, very high quality program, paid a lot of money for it. This was about a 3 week process to learn the skill and be placed inside of an actual opportunity. I got placed in December, and this is what my income looked like. First month, 152K cash collected, pocketed around $8,400, $8,500, around that. Following months looks a little bit like this. Went down to 4K, went back up to around 6 to 7, went down, went up, went down, kept going down, fell out of love with setting. I was like, okay, I don't really want to leverage my time anymore. And boom, 0, right? So within this period of 8 months, I learned a lot. I learned the skill, I built a network of people, and I proved my skills to very high leverage business owners, right? So at this point, I was like, okay, well, I can do this. Let's see if I can teach this to people, right? And so during this time, I was posting in groups that I was in. I was letting people know the results that I was getting. People were coming to me asking for help. I was taking calls. I was teaching people anything and everything that I knew about setting and how I was able to get to this point. So I knew that I didn't want to be inside the business anymore. I knew that I wanted to kind of leverage myself and put myself in a better position. And although setting is not exactly trading your time for money, it is to an extent. And I wanted to put myself out of that, and I wanted to start managing a team and start like running things from an over wide view perspective rather than be like inside and doing the day-to-day task and typing the messages out. I wanted to be working on business. My passion has always been for entrepreneurship and growing something and building something. And with this, it's like, yeah, I'm growing my skills, but I'm not actually building anything for myself and for my future, right? Like, it was quick cash. It was really nice. It's a good skill to have, but it wasn't that for me. So got really good results for this one guy. They were already doing 300K a month through webinars. And so he put me on to another one of his friends, and I had also hired a team member. And so around this, so this was around a 15, 16 month process where we were generating hundreds of thousands of dollars for these 1 to 2 clients. And it was just kind of looking like this, right? This is how much we were generating for the businesses. But here's the thing. I didn't really know about business. I didn't know how to like structure a deal or how to negotiate with people. And so this was my income. A straight line. That's because I didn't know how to negotiate. I didn't know how to structure a deal that works for me, right? And so I was only charging a very small monthly retainer. Keep in mind, I was in school during this time. So, I was cool with it. I wasn't working a regular job. I was just managing people. I wasn't putting that much time into it. I wasn't really growing the business. I was just kind of like staying afloat and, having this pay for all my, my rent, my utilities, having fun in college, partying, stuff like that. If I knew what I knew now, the income would have been more like this. My take home would have been much more than it was, right? But I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to craft these deals. I wasn't very sure on negotiations. I didn't have a lot of confidence in myself to be able to do this. I had confidence in my skills and in my team, but I didn't know how to leverage that. I didn't know how to communicate that effectively. Now I do. Now I know how to like work around everything. I know what other people are charging. I know what I can charge. I know the value that I bring to the marketplace, right? But I didn't know this during this time, so I was just making dirt, right? A couple $1,000s a month. Nothing too crazy. So this period of time, I lost the clients, and I was really just like focusing on school, getting through school. I was taking a lot of really rough programs and a lot of in-person presentations, stuff like that, pitches. I had to devote a lot of my focus and a lot of my time to that. So I kind of stopped doing this, but I always had it in the back of my head, right? And I was like, okay, well, what am I going to do after college? I don't want to go and work for some like corporate company. I want to do something a little bit more geared towards, building my own business, running my own company, stuff like that. So I was always brainstorming about what I was going to do when this period came. I graduated in around December, this time period right here. So this was a period of really just thinking about what I wanted to do and how I was going to do it. And luckily during this time, I got a referral come in. So the sales manager that was running this operation reached out to me with an opportunity. He knows that I know how to do this stuff. He knows that I do really good work. And so he came to me, he was like, yo, we're lacking in DMs, we're lacking in the setting department. Can you help with that? And I was like, okay, well, let's figure something out that, works for the both of us. Because I wasn't going to put myself through this again. I was not going to do that. I was not going to work for pennies on the dollar, basically just scraping around. And, I had more of an opportunity going and using my degree and working for some corporate company, which trust me, I did not want to do, but I would rather have done that than make a few $1,000s a month. So brainstorm, got the opportunity, spent months of negotiations, finally came something that like worked out for us. And this period was the starting point, right? Proved my skills. I already knew that I could generate the business results. They had really good assets, really good personal brand, just a great client overall. And so I knew I could do it. I had a lot of confidence in myself, and that shows when you're doing sales calls as well. So, if you guys are ever in a sales call, having complete and utter conviction in what you're selling is going to help you way better than just, throwing out numbers and stuff. So at this point, I knew that I needed to do two things to grow the business because I had already done it in the past, right? Right here, I had hired somebody. I knew how to do that. And then clients. And the only way that I had gotten clients in the past was from referrals. I got a referral from this. right? I took the program, they referred me to another business. This business then referred me to this business. And then this guy then referred me to this one. So I've done cold outreach before, but I hate it. And I don't think that it's worth my time. Obviously, like if you're just starting from absolute scratch and you don't go through like some sort of program with the placement, then you're gonna have to do that. You're gonna have to grind your way out of that. But I knew how to get clients, and that was through referrals, and that was just through doing really good work, just like A+ to S tier work. And so I knew, okay, well, if I want to take this from 20, 30K a month and grow it to 50K, and then even take it to 100K, which was my goal, I knew that I had to do these two things. And so that's the first thing that I did. I went and I hired 2 people for this first job, and then I had the client from referral. Well, what I did after that was, once we got really good results, I then went to client 1. I was like, hey, do you know anybody else that, would benefit from my services? Blah, blah, blah. Like, we've been doing really good work. And guys, they're not going to have a problem, because if you're doing really good work, if you're generating really good results, then you're going to be able to get referrals like with a snap finger. It's very easy, just, smooth intro. And then obviously you have the negotiation later on. But yeah, so I knew how to do these two things. And I just did that. I rinsed and I repeated. And then we came to a problem around halfway through April. So now don't get me wrong, we were doing a lot. I was hiring dialers. We went over in episode 2. I went from kind of only doing DM setting to now moving on to dialers and like phone setters. And that really helped grow the business as well. But I faced a really big problem. And that was I was hiring too fast and I wasn't firing. And so here's what I was doing. I was on so much of like a go mode that I just wanted to hire and get new clients. So that's what I did. And I hired 4 people, 4 new guys, and 3 of them I probably shouldn't have, or I should have taken a longer process, right? Through that, I should have had a much longer hiring process, and I didn't do that. And so that's what I learned from this last month is hire slow. I know this is probably terrible handwriting, and then fire fast. Because I had a couple guys that were causing problems with other team members, drama. I had somebody that was not sending correct grammar and, the right sentences and phrases. And I probably should have let him go a few weeks sooner than I should have. Whoops, fire fast. And you guys have probably heard this a lot, but it's so true, right? So before, I was hiring within 3 days and it was taking me over a month to fire somebody. Now I'm taking over a month to hire somebody and I'm taking less than a week to fire somebody. So if, I get something back and it's a problem, I let you know very quickly. I'm like, okay, hey, here's the problem. We need you to improve on this. Wait another week, 2 weeks. If nothing changes, boom, I'm sorry, man, you're gone, right? That's just how the team works. We're in sales at the end of the day. It's just business. Sales is all about numbers, right? And so that's one thing that, if you're trying to do the same thing, if you're trying to grow your business, this is going to be your sweet spot right here. Because if you can't figure this out, you will with experience, but, just letting you guys know ahead of time, hire slow, fire fast. It's going to cause you a lot of headaches if you don't do this, right? So that's the end of episode 3, guys. The challenge is not starting here. We're going to set the new goal to 150K. But for right now, my goal for May is just to kind of sustain around this 90 to 100K range right now. Obviously, I want to shoot for higher, but we've had a lot of big changes. Had to let go of 3 people Client 2 did a webinar, and that's not going to be like a monthly thing. So yeah, we had a big month. Now it's just going to be about maintaining and then to continue growing, right? So no matter what, I want to be around or definitely above this 50K mark. And then, ideally, I want to be in this like 90 to 100K range for the month of May. I totally believe in myself. I know that we can do it. We just cracked 112K for the month. Like, that is just absolutely insane to me. Yes, I've done it in the past, but not with this like model that I'm doing now, where, I'm building my own thing, building my own company, and it just feels awesome, right? Like, there's so much more fulfillment that comes from it. And like, this is just what makes me happy. So, yeah, I appreciate you guys watching. Stay tuned for episode 4. We are not going to stop the challenge. And hope you guys have a great day. Peace.